Article 2, where I have the right to do whatever I want as president.
The obstruction of Congress is what got Donald Trump impeached, which is now how he's going to be remembered in the annals of history. And President Trump is still obstructing Congress, but this time it's regarding Iran. Fred Kaplan with Slate Magazine summarizes the bigger picture. Quote, Trump's contempt for democracy has reached new depth. The president is defying the Constitution amid the crisis with Iran. Trump's team's words and deeds on a vast span of issues are but the latest steps toward authoritarian rule by the White House. Here's President Trump yesterday, again, showing his contempt for Congress.
Would you go to Congress to take further military action against Iran? Would you seek congressional
It would all depend on the circumstance. I don't have to.
I don't have to. Pair President Trump's disregard for checks and balances with his administration's efforts to silence Congress, directly suggesting to lawmakers in the last 24 hours not to question or debate the president's authority to take military action in Iran. We're being told not to debate and not to question. What are we if we do not debate and question? Joining us now, a guy who questions everything. Academy Award winning filmmaker Michael Moore has recently launched his new podcast, Rumble with Michael Moore. But I would say, Michael, that your career was based on speaking truth to power, right? Holding power to account. Our balance of power in Washington is based on holding each other to account. When I hear that Secretary Pompeo told members of Congress, told senators, don't go out there and question what we did. And I've heard this from Republican members of Congress in the last 24 hours on my own shows. We shouldn't question the wisdom of doing this.
Right.
That's weird.
It's weird. It's not the first time it's happened. Bill Maher was told that and lost his show on ABC after 9/11. I was told that by the head of Disney, which was the company that owned my film Fahrenheit 9/11, and they decided not to distribute it because they didn't want anybody questioning the Iraq War at that time. And when the public found out about that, there was a demand that the film be released, and it was. This is very much in our character to try to shut down democratic debate, questioning, and protest.
Does it trouble you that this is different because you've covered corporate America and corporate America has done some of that stuff to you? But does it trouble you that we're now seeing this in plain sight from the President of the United States and the apparatus of the President?
Everything he does is in plain sight. That's the genius of Trump, is that when he commits his crimes, his misdeeds, his wrongdoings, when he lies, and then when he tells the truth, he really is telling the truth. When he says, I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and get away with it. Yeah, we believe you. Mm-hmm. So the real problem here is that, and why I really wanted to talk to you tonight, is that we have been once again lied to over and over again this week about the terrorist that he illegally and immorally assassinated. He had no right as the President of the United States to order the assassination of a legitimate, whether we like him or not, a legitimate leader in another country.
So he was a uniformed general of the Iranian armed forces. How, in your mind, do you distinguish between him and Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of ISIS or Osama bin Laden? What's the distinction?
The real distinction is that we are the terrorists when it comes to Iran. Iranians haven't attacked us, ever. Iranians haven't killed us. We are the ones at fault. We take this, everybody says on the news today, oh, this thing with Iran goes back 40 years. It goes back 70 years.
1953.
Thank you.
We took out their democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. The CIA.
The CIA and the MI6 took him out and installed a dictator to run Iran for the next 25 years.
Who bought a lot of stuff from us.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They called him the Shah. They gave him a name, but really what he did was pilfer their treasury and did whatever we told him to do. He was our puppet. And that went on for 25 years of people tortured, murdered, imprisoned, a brutal regime that we ran. And in 1979, the people of Iran decided, you know what? That's enough torture. from the United
It's
States.
interesting because the
They took over our
1979
embassy.
revolution, which we're going to talk about on Sunday night
Yeah.
on MSNBC, it was supported by liberals, it was supported by Jews, it was supported by academics, it was
In
supported
Iran,
by
yeah.
everybody in
Yes,
Iran
yes.
because they were tired of this oppressive rule that was a U.S. puppet.
That is correct. And they were successful. And they took over our embassy and they took our employees there hostage. Did they kill them? No. Did they execute them against the wall? No. They held them for a year and they let them out 1 minute after Ronald Reagan was inaugurated president of the United States. And then they have what happens with all, I think, new countries that have revolutions. They have not been a perfect country under their revolution. Nonetheless, 1 year after they have their revolution, after they boot us out, after we oppressed them for 25 years, what happens? We give arms to Saddam Hussein in Iraq, and he uses them to invade Iran and starts the Iraq-Iran war. That lasts for 8 years. We gave chemical weapons to Saddam, and 8 years later, there's nearly 1 million Iranians dead.
Right.
Thanks to our participation in helping Saddam
So then we
kill them.
fast forward to the fact that we spent 10 years, America was involved in the last few years, of coming up with a deal that was meant to sort of
Yes.
try and normalize relations, get Iran
Yes.
back into the world. This
Right.
was 2015, June 2015. Within 2 years, this deal is done and over because Donald Trump comes in, campaigned on the idea that he'd rip it up, did.
Yes.
And now we are at this point where we're
For
probably
now-
not as close to war as we were 3 days ago, but we're a lot closer than we were 3 years ago.
We're always close to war with Donald Trump in the White House. You have no idea what he's thinking of, what he will approve. They should never have given him this option. He probably wouldn't have thought of it, but they put the option on the table to assassinate that general. And then look at the results of this in just the last few days. First the Iranians they announce we're not going to kill American civilians. And they don't. They don't even kill American soldiers. They fire those missiles off. Those missiles, as you reported here the other day, they're very accurate missiles. They can hit the target within a yard, within a meter.
Right.
They fire 16 of them and don't hurt a single American or a single Iraqi troop there in Iraq. It was to send a message,
We can target.
provide propaganda for themselves, whatever. But they were so careful. And in the midst of being so careful not to kill an American, they mistakenly think, whether it's their computer system or some person made a mistake, they, in their efforts not to kill us, kill 87 of their own people on that plane, 63 Canadians, 11 Ukrainians.
Yeah.
It's so sad that none of that would have happened had not this person in the Oval Office decided to assassinate that general and trigger this whole thing. But how many wars could you cite in history where one stupid action,
Yeah.
domino,
There was an assassination on a corner in Sarajevo one day.
exactly,
started
World
a
War I,
major
or
war.
Gulf of Tonkin
Yep,
in my
yep,
generation,
yep.
59,000 of people of my U.S. soldiers of my
Yep.
generation died in Vietnam because of a lie that was told that the North Vietnamese had attacked one of our boats in the Gulf of
Well, the
Tonkin.
1953 taking out of the Prime Minister of Iran was based on false information that was fed to the CIA to do that.
But they
So-
were happy to take him out
Happy to
and
take 'em out.
install our dictator for
Yep.
25 years. Who are the terrorists? I'm sorry, I love this country. That's why I'm so passionate
Yeah, no,
about
I know
this,
you are.
that I don't want any killing done in my name.
Yeah.
I don't want dictators installed in my name. I don't want any of that. I want us to be exactly who I
No,
think we are
I
and should
think it's
be.
important that you are reminding our viewers that Iran, left to its own devices, would have been a democracy from the 1950s.
That is absolutely, because it
1950s.
was a democracy in the 1950s.
Stay with us. When we come back, I'm going to ask you about Donald Trump's impending impeachment trial. You're watching The Last Word.